Well, how's everybody doing today? I guess we're gonna go through a quick overview of the fiasco of the 806. So, a couple, 2, 3 years ago, motor went out. Took it down to a shop. Said the motor was gonna need rebuilt. Gonna cost, I don't know, 10, 12,000, something like that. So we ended up finding a used motor. Got a pretty good buy on the motor. Seemed like a good motor. It's a good motor. It runs good, whatnot. But yeah, so I took this motor down. It sat down there for a year and 7 months waiting. Took that guy to put this motor in and change that injector pump out. The other motor had an RD pump on it. My original motor had an RD pump, which when the motor locked up, the pump got screwed up. And which I originally thought just the pump locked up, because when I pulled the pump off, the motor would kind of turn. And I didn't realize it wouldn't make a full revolution. So, and those RD pumps, you can't, I don't know, they're kind of hard to find, hard to get parts for. So, I just got a Rusa Master pump, and I got the parts and fuel lines to swap it over to this. So, shouldn't have been too big of a deal. But yeah, here in 7 months, put a motor in, put an injector pump in. He was supposed to work on the transmission top cover, never did it. He was supposed to put my turbo on, never did it. Generator that was on here, he told him to swap it over to an alternator, but what he did was he just took the wires from the generator and hooked it up to an alternator, even though everything's still hooked up to a voltage regulator, and that's self-regulating, so it was draining the batteries and not charging, obviously. And so yeah, I had to go in on the voltage regulator and hook some wires up there. Had to run new wires. The hot wire to the alternator was basically all melted. I don't know if it shorted out somewhere or if it was just from backfeeding on the batteries. So ran a new wire there. He had ran a jumper wire like you're supposed to, but what he did was he had it in the wrong post. So it took me a little bit of screwing around to figure that out. Then I had to run a new wire back up into the harness to go to the amp light and the key switch and all that good stuff. And yeah, it seems like it's working now. Fuel, the oil pan, the drain plug was all stripped out on that. I don't know if that's his fault or not, but I swapped my old oil pan back on here. When we got it home, it was leaking fuel out of here like crazy. Well, he had the wrong fitting on here, so this fitting was just sitting in there. He had a bunch of Teflon tape on there, but yeah, I went to tighten it up, it just spun in there. What the hell? So yeah, pulled it right out, and so I had to get a different fitting for that and tighten that down. Front end, the bolts were loose. There was 2 bolts completely out. There was only 1 bolt that was loose holding the piece that runs the tie rods. And I don't know how the feller that drove it home for me, because we were chopping. I don't know. He's lucky. Geez, what else? He had in the story that, the batteries, he had to charge batteries 2 or 3 times and couldn't get the tractor to start. Well, the one battery cable on the other side was shot. I replaced that. Between that and the batteries draining with that alternator still being hooked up to the regulator, I'm sure all played a part of that. So it's it's one of those, how much labor was I getting screwed out of because you didn't know what the hell you were doing. This ain't no, he's not a 40-year mechanic, but he ain't no young kid out of tech school either. So he's got quite a few years experience, or supposedly, so I thought. Experience, or I don't know, definitely not know-how. I hate to sit here and rag on somebody, but they sent me a pretty hefty bill for the stuff they did and didn't do. So I guess I'm gonna have to rag on them. So, oh geez, there was a steel lines that run through the frame rail on the other side for I think it runs a steering up front. They were all loose. I had to go in there and tighten those up. He must have left my turbo outside, not covered, because he was supposed to put turbo on. Couldn't figure out why the hell he didn't put the turbo on. Well, I got down there to pick up my pallet of parts and the old motor and stuff, and take the turbo. I'm looking at it, and it don't hardly spin in there. So he must have left that outside, and now that's shot, and You know, that thing, I replaced that probably 3 or 4 years before the motor went out, so, you know. Oh, and then, yeah, he had made some adapter to put on the manifold to put the stack over, and he had welded a flat piece of steel with a pipe, and then he welded on top and bottom. Well, that bottom weld made that thing sit up in the air, and the little gasket he put in there wasn't going to seal nothing up. So I took that off, ground that all down, and made some more gaskets out of some shim stock. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we're going to try it. And other than that, I think it's usable at the moment. I'm gonna haul a couple loads of manure with it and see what we get into. So we'll check back at some point here. Well, I definitely want a muffler for it. It's a little greasy out here. Alright, well, the maiden voyage with the 806 went well. I'm going to change my pair of gloves out. I had to clean that spreader out. I basically just wanted to hook it up, run a load through it because it needed cleaned out from using it before everything freezes. See if I can find me a dry pair of gloves on the cooler here. But yeah, so now I got the new idea box spreader on the 806. Finally got that fixed yesterday. My buddy's hauling with the 986 and the H&S spreader, see if we can get some sheds cleaned out. Probably get one done today, hopefully the other one done tomorrow. It quit snowing at the moment, so that's good. Yeah, temperature ain't just so bad, it's mid-30s, but it is damp and ugh. Wish I had a one so silly I'd put the 15 or the Magnum on there and have a little heat, but we can be tough again. I got the 7 on the feeder wagon yet, or else I'd put that on there, but 460 still tucked away. I got a oil leak on there I need to take care of, so it's never ending. So anyways, I'm gonna get back at her here before too long, and if my fingers don't freeze, I'll try to get a little more video of the tractor working. I made must not be sealing up. Either that or it's the stack itself. The stack is a little screwy down at the bottom. I tried welding up and it kind of tore away. I tried welding it up. That clamp might not be sealing tight enough. But regardless, we'll get a manifold pipe for this and put a muffler on her. I'm sure gonna miss the old turbo though. For no other reason than it sounded cool. Wind picked up. It's getting cold now. Hey. Alright, well, we're going to fix up that exhaust on that 806. Here's that piece that feller made. It's actually the wrong size pipe up here. It's just that stack was so freaking wallered out that it would fit over here. The muffler won't fit over this. But yeah, here's where he had welded on the bottom here too, and that's part of my gaskets I made out of that shim stock that didn't work, so a buddy of mine hooked me up with a chunk of exhaust pipe, and we're going to weld that on and onto that piece on the manifold that screws in, and stick a muffler on, go from there. Alright, well, got that welded on here. Hopefully I welded it straight. That cut's not straight, but we ain't gonna worry about that. It was a piece of scrap, so. I'll spin this onto the manifold and throw the muffler on and see how she looks. Okay, there we go. I left it a little high because I may put a cab on this sometime. Granted, it's still not overly high, but yeah, should work, I hope. We'll find out. Alright, well, it looks like we're in pretty good shape. I did see I had a little bit of fuel leaking on a line there. Tighten that up. But yeah, exhaust seems to be working out okay. I think we might finally have her under control here. So, I got a couple loads of feed to grind. To figure I'll put this old girl on there and see if we can clear the cobwebs out of her. Most of that smoke is the paint coming off that muffler. Well, I think most of the paint burnt off. Not pretty gray no more. Load number 2. Let the tractor sit while I went home for dinner and started up like it should, so I think we're in good shape. Alright, well, the old girl seems to be good to go. Had a little bit of time here this morning, so decided to put some LEDs in the old girl. And yeah, we picked up these fast hitch adapters here too a couple weeks ago. A pretty good deal on them, $300. So the old man had this kind of a setup on his 806 back in the day. He used to have an 806 when I was pretty little yet. I vaguely remember it. Remember riding in it, and he had a cab on that, and I had a turbo on it too. But basically, my fondest memory of it was the obnoxious whine in the cab and the just loud. But yeah, he always liked these adapters. So he 3-point attachment, and that'll just used to pick up on it with the pins in and locks in. And since they don't sway individual like you get on the regular 3-point, so yeah, should hopefully be good to go. Everything seems to be working on her at the moment. I'd like to add just a couple more lights on the fenders for the back. I don't know if I need anything up front yet or not. We'll take her out in the dark some night. See how she goes. Well, I guess we'll probably call this one good, I guess. Yeah, kind of hate to rant about a job somebody did, but I don't know, that was dumb. So, yeah, I think would have been better off to go to the dealer in town, spend a little extra money, have it done right, done a lot quicker. Mostly done right. I don't know, I know everybody screws up. I screw up stuff all the time, but that was bad. There was it's such simple stuff too. It's just I don't know. It's crazy, but is what it is at the moment. We are gonna have to battle a little bit on that bill because that's way too high for the what got messed up and what didn't get done. And I don't know. We'll do a little sit down and discussing about that thing. So, anyways, I guess yeah, weather's gonna be nice for a while yet. So we'll see what else we get into here and go from there. So thanks for watching. We'll catch everybody later.